Hello, my name is Bobby Bear, and I'm part of IXL's Professional Learning Services team. In this micro-learning, I'll share with you how IXL Social Studies content can be used to beautifully support inquiry-based learning in your classroom. When we think about inquiry-based learning, we think about how inquiry can take on three different shapes or forms. The first being project-based learning, where students are completing a task that results in a realistic product or a presentation. In problem-based learning, students are putting their critical thinking skills to the test to solve a problem. And in learning by design, students are producing collaboratively, typically, an artifact to show learning, and that through the creation of that artifact, they're engaging in revision and repetition, preparing them for the collaboration and the college and career readiness skills that are so important. The well-known educational researcher John Hattie has said that if you don't teach the surface and the content, you've got nothing to inquire about. Most teachers introduce it, inquiry-based learning in this case, far too early. So at IXL, we believe that coupling your instruction with IXL skill practices creates that foundation that is fundamental for successful inquiry-based learning. Let's take a look at how this works using a specific classroom example or scenario. Let's pretend that your 5th grade social studies students are about to explore the impact of Harriet Tubman and the role that she played in the Underground Railroad. Their project will be the creation of a game board, where in that game board they must display their knowledge about that important historical event or events of the time period, the communication tactics of the Underground Railroad, obviously important knowledge about Harriet Tubman herself, and then the role that other important historical figures had on the time period. First, you'll begin with your instruction. That's a critical step. Provide students with that background knowledge that they'll need using the instructional strategies that you know work best for your students. And then couple that instruction with IXL skill practices. The skill practices might focus on the specific time period and or the specific historical figures of that time period. Obviously, for this scenario, individuals like Harriet Tubman, Abraham Lincoln, etc. Always know that not only could you use our social studies content to prepare students for the research involved in order to create the game board, but you can also use our ELA content in order to get them better ready to start taking some of those research notes that's required. For example, how do you determine the order of events in an informational text? Or how can you successfully distinguish the difference between a fact from an opinion? Let's say, for example, that following your instruction, you want your students to practice a skill involving a deep look at the abolitionists of the antebellum period. 7th grade, Q.1. What you might choose to do is assign to your 7th graders Q.1 and challenge them to complete stages 1 and 2 initially. Following their practice, go to the skills area in IXL's Teacher Analytics. In the skills area, what we provide to you is a glimpse at who completed that stage 2 goal and who maybe didn't make it. Notice from my screen, I can see that I have 3 students, Diego, Jillian, and Victor, who powered through stage 2. They met my goal. So in class, I'm going to review some of those important content and topics, and then I'm going to have them push on to stage 3. But what if I have students that didn't make it to that stage 2 goal? What I'll do is I'll pull those students into small group instruction with me. I'll reteach that important critical vocabulary. We'll do some modeling, some guided practice, and then when I feel that students are skill practice ready again, I'll reassign Q.1. By doing this, I am providing students with an opportunity to build that knowledge so that they are able to bring all of that knowledge to the inquiry-based learning table. So notice that what we propose is through the use of your instruction, targeted IXL skill practices, coupled with your use of teacher analytics, you are better preparing students for the building of that game board together. Whether it's the game board or whether it's any kind of inquiry-based learning, we know that by providing those 3 critical steps, you are allowing students to build that foundation so they're truly ready. For support in inquiry-based learning strategies involving our social studies content or any professional learning support, please contact us at pd at IXL.com.